Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff, and this is the Young Justice Season 3, Episodes 1 through 3 review. With me, as always, are Coby and Jake. Welcome to the show, you guys. The new show.
As always. So Jake just gets an always position now.
Yeah, you know what? He's been on a few shows with us now. I think he deserves an as always.
Yeah, like your past 3 videos.
Oh, you have been just around.
He's on a streak.
That he's originally from Anime Dumpster Dive, aren't you, Jake?
Yes, I am.
And what do you do over there?
There we go in depth on anime that people have considered bad, and we do the digging for people. So we do find out if the anime is bad. Spoiler alert: most of the time, they are not very good.
So you spend your time watching a lot of shit anime.
Yes, a lot. So I know bad shows pretty well.
Would you say Young Justice is a bad show?
I would not.
I wouldn't either, and I think all of us would agree. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Yeah, I definitely loved the first 2 seasons. Was really excited to learn when Young Justice Season 3 was coming out. I was amongst those that signed the online petition to bring the show back. And I was really hoping it would come to like Netflix or something, but now it's on DC Universe, their new streaming service. And the bastards that they are, they don't release the whole show at once like Netflix does. They have to release it piecemeal so that people don't just watch the whole show and then bail. But, here we are, I guess.
In an interesting format, because it's not one episode at a time. It's not all episodes at once. It's 3 episodes at a time. And what do you guys think of that format? Do you think that's something that's sustainable? That's something that they should keep doing? Or would you prefer if they really did drop it all at once?
I'm almost 100% positive that this 3-episode release is to counter the people who are trying to like just watch it and dip.
Yep.
So I think it's almost like it's just really weird. Like 3 episodes kind of gives you a bit of story. Like why not just like they're set in episodes anyway? So now why not just, if you're gonna release not all of it at once, why not just release 1 episode a week if you're gonna do it that way? So I think the 3 episodes is to keep people watching and enough to keep people from like leaving
from
right away.
Dipping out or just signing up for the free trial, which I did just to watch this.
Yeah.
And when that free trial is over, Coby, are you going to renew or are you going to make a new account with a new free trial?
I guess it's only like a 7-day free trial. It's 2. So I'm going to have to think about whether I want to continue or not.
Yeah, I'm on board with Jake's theory. I think it kind of shows a lack of confidence in their streaming service, in all honesty.
But that makes sense. I mean, they just started just a few months ago, or not even a few months ago, like when Titans premiered. So it's like November, I think, is when it got off the ground. So I mean, it makes sense that they're still trying to hook viewers in for the long time. And I actually think 3 episodes is a perfect amount of episodes to release at a time, because 1 episode is too little in today's culture. I mean, we're a binge watching culture. We watch multiple episodes at a time, and you release it all at once. We would have sat down and watched it all in one day, and then we would have been a year without waiting for new episodes. So 3 episodes at a time, I actually think is enough to keep you satisfied and to keep you engaged and check you back in for next week. My question is, do you think they knew that they were going to be released in 3-episode chunks so they could craft their story around that?
I think it might be just based off this first arc, because it seems like it's a full arc that takes place in that country, and it feels like the next arc is going to focus on like the same characters, but definitely not like the direct background. It seems like the whole like political discord that takes place in this arc is wrapped up.
Yeah.
So now we're back to focusing on the light, and we get a new character introduced into the fold and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I guess let's just dive into it. I just stole your line, Jake. We're just diving into it. It's just the perfect expression to get started into things regarding this episode. So there's a lot of catch up. I think Young Justice has been off the air for about 5 years. I think it went off in 2013. That's a long time. Be honest, did you guys remember where we left off?
Kinda. I mean, they did have that little recap in the beginning of the first episode, which I was really hoping for, but it didn't give me as much of a recap as I had hoped. But I guess looking at this new storyline, it really didn't matter, because this new storyline is all about meta-human trafficking, which was sort of touched on in the last season, but it seems like they're going full tilt towards that. But yeah, that little recap in the beginning was really all I needed, with them saving the day 2 years ago, and now having to save the day again 2 years later.
Yeah, it
But
seems
I
like the most important thing was that Nightwing was leaving, like that he was taking a break, and that's like really the only thing you needed to know, that he was off on his own. So it's 2 years have passed since then. After they defeated the Reach, the most interesting developments probably is that Magan is leading the Young Justice team. They're working side by side with the Justice League in the Justice League Tower. And kind of a big development is that Kaldor is now the new Aquaman. He's no longer Aqualad. What happened to Aquaman, guys?
I'm hoping that he just retired like from the hero work and focused solely on King of Atlantis, because like we saw Atlantis and Themyscira have those ambassadors now in the UN. So I think that maybe with the King of Atlantis being part of the Justice League, that maybe they saw that he would be he'd kind of be conflicted. So I think he took a backseat to become focus more on the politics and let his protege take the mantle.
Okay. Jeff still alive or sleeping with the fishes?
I'm pretty convinced by that, actually. I was just thinking he probably died or something. But
But
no,
now
that
you have
makes
to give
a
a
lot more
logical,
sense.
thought-out response to where Aquaman is.
Exactly. Did they also mention that Aquaman is now the new leader of the Justice League? And I'm
Yeah,
talking about Kaldor
he's the
Aquaman.
leader of it, along with, it looks like Wonder Woman, which is, I don't know where Superman is.
Because he's there. Like, he just isn't the leader.
Yeah, because he was.
I thought it was usually Batman that was the leader, right?
I don't know. I think Batman. I don't know. There's different versions of the Justice League where Batman's like either really important or be like, I'll be here when you need me to be, or just always around. But that dives into the Justice League dynamics, which honestly was one of my favorite aspects about the older series, when all the older Justice League were sitting around a table discussing their membership and how they functioned as a team. So we got. And we learned that Lex Luthor, mischievous bad guy extraordinaire, is now I think he's the UN ambassador. Is that what he is? Or
He's like the chief secretary.
UN
or something
Secretary
like that.
General. That's what he is. And surprisingly, he's up to no good. He's restricting the Justice League's actions in the world. He's stopping them from things as simple as humanitarian efforts, and he's not letting them roam around willy-nilly. And this irks a lot of the members of the team. So in a pre-planned move, Batman, Green Arrow, and along with their proteges and a few other non-speaking members.
Because they just left.
Yeah, they just like resign, like without saying
They sent like a
anything.
text message, it seems.
Yeah, even though they were capable of talking, they just
New phone, who dis?
yeah.
Left.
And they all got up and left, and it all seemed really organized. So and that was the aspect I really liked about this. That I mean, they could have just left that as we're all resigning right now, and then that's it, and not address it anymore. But what they did, they made it apparent that this was a pre-planned move, that this is a strategy to it, and this is to send a statement to the rest of the league. And so those little details about like that make me like really like Young Justice, because it's both adult and and teen friendly, I guess. Even though this one. Now that it's switched over to DC Universe, I don't know how teen-friendly this is, judging by a few things that happened in the episode. But then we get into like the heart of really what's happening, and it looks like what this whole season's going to be about. As you mentioned, it's metahuman trafficking. The Reach is kidnapping children, unlocking their metahuman...
The Light, you mean?
The Light, yeah, sorry. I get the Light, the Reach, and everything that's happening. They're all mixed up. The Light, kidnapping children, unlocking their metahuman genes and sending them off to be, I guess, warriors across the galaxy, like bad guys. Is that the general?
Well, like it seems like unwilling mercenaries.
Yeah, and
Yeah, they control them through like some kind of chip. Makes them do bad guy stuff.
and it turns them into like killing machines, where like if they touch you, they're dead. But the problem with these mercenaries is that they're a little unstable, and we get. Focus on a character that I'm questioning if we should devote as much time to show-wise. It's Black Lightning, a character that really wasn't that important in the original like Young Justice, I don't think.
No, he like showed up and he was like, "I'll teach Static what to do."
Yeah.
You know what would be
Yep.
better? Give Black Lightning's storyline in this to Static.
Yeah,
Then
Static
I would
would've
care
been-
more.
Yeah, because I'm connected to Static. I kind of know what he's been through. Just because it's only because Black Lightning's a main member of the team, I guess, that we should focus on him. But he goes through an arc throughout these 3 episodes where he kills one of the mercenaries, and he finds out it's actually the heart and body of a 14-year-old girl, and then he has to deal with the grief about that. And in all of these 3 episodes, I think that's my biggest complaint, is that they focused a lot on his grief, and how he's struggling to be a hero about that. But maybe it worked for you guys. What do you think about that?
I was thinking that of why they would do something like this, and I guess the reason is they wanted one of the heroes to have some kind of like a personal stake, some kind of emotional investment in the fact that, you know, kids are being kidnapped and stuff like that. And I guess, you know, it's kind of default, you know, kids being kidnapped equals bad, but they wanted to write a character in here that would feel, you know, extra bad about kids being kidnapped because they killed one. And I don't know really the lore behind Black Lightning, but maybe they chose him because of, we kind of get like a small scene with him seeing off his daughters. Like he takes them off to bed and kisses them and stuff. So I guess, you know, he's like a good dad figure, and maybe he was like the best guy for the job. I don't know if any other character had that kind of lore where they had a strong connection to children. So maybe that's why they chose him. But as for if it worked on me or not, I don't know. I think he's okay. I would have preferred, you know, Aqualad/Aquaman, so that we can get the old team back together. I'm a bit sad that he's a real big wig now, and It doesn't seem like he's gonna be connecting with the old team again, which makes me sad. At least, you know, in these first 3 episodes, that seems to be. I would have really much preferred him than this new guy that pretty much came out of nowhere.
It's kind of exactly what they did with Aqualad in the 2nd season, where he's gone for about the first little chunk of it, and then you find out he's bad, but then he actually plays the crucial role in the rest of the season. So hopefully they have something in store for Kaldor and Aquaman lads. I don't even know what to call him. I don't know whether to call him Aqualad.
Let's call him Kaldor.
Kaldor. I don't know. And hopefully his story. But I think, and I'm convinced by both of you guys. It's like when Jake said should be static, it's like, yeah, that should totally be static.
It should be also if you want him to connect to the metahuman children, Static got kidnapped as a metahuman child.
Yeah.
And was forced to awaken his metahuman abilities in a similar manner. So I think you can connect him just as well. We have history with Static. He wants to be a hero. He then kills someone, and he's like, well, like that's a good traumatic event for a person who's trying to become a hero. And then you can even work in Black Lightning, trying to help him grow out of this. Yeah. Instead, you have Black Lightning abandon his protege because he's like, hopefully you'll find someone better who also shoots lightning.
Yeah, you know, like literally perfect for you.
And so it's like, well, I mean, like, I get that you want to introduce like a new character because it's a new season, new stuff. But I feel like it's like when there's another better character there, you should probably go with him and then introduce maybe a different character, like new character, a character who doesn't really play a big role emotionally. And for me, that's kind of like Tigress in these first 3 episodes. Yeah, kind of doesn't play a part other than, hey, you recognize her? She was part of the OG team.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get into the team dynamics a little bit more as we go into what's happening with this episode. But Jeff, really quickly, name all the new countries that were introduced in this. Can you remember them off the top of your head?
Markovia.
That's the big one, and there was other ones that were represented at the UN nation.
There's Atlantis, Theo something, Barovia maybe.
Themyscira was there. But then there was another B one that seemed like it was important.
Beyonce Knowles, the
country, where Queen Bey, even though there's already a Queen Bee in this Young Justice universe, reigns. And they also, I thought Markovia, when we first started watching, was the same country as where in the first season, remember they rescued the princess, the Flash, or Wally had to do that. But then I think they kind of expected us to think that, because then the second episode makes a point to reference her again and about how it's a different country.
Yeah, because she's dating Garfield. Because they met at Wally's funeral.
And that was a weird thing to throw in. I didn't understand why. But now I'm thinking it's because to distinguish that this is not the same girl that we remembered 6 years ago.
quite frankly, the whole Garfield stuff is a little weird. I think it's nice, like a cool way, more world building.
Yeah.
But kind of just like they make Garfield look really douchey.
He's so douchey, and he's with his hat and his glasses and his just douchey attitude about his cheesy way of saying that metahuman trafficking is a major issue. If you see something, scream something. But he says it in such a weird way that I don't know if this is supposed to be a satire. It's supposed to be like I don't know what they're going for with those beginning things. It's supposed to be, it's like, oh, it's nice to make messages on TV even you're a popular thing, but Garfield's an actor now. He's not, and he has the power to actually help people, but he's not doing it. All he's doing is standing in front of a camera and say, if you see something, scream something. And then Young Justice is supposed to show that that's not how you get these things resolved. But I have no idea.
I think it's just a lighthearted bend occasionally. Because, I mean, the original series did have their serious moments, but they kept it kind of funny most of the time. So I feel like, this season, I feel like that's the only funny bits we get, lighthearted bits we get is with Garfield. So maybe that's why they kind of wanted to add a bit of levity to the serious situations, and, it would probably feel out of place if they added it in the middle of the serious stuff they're doing now, because, well, I don't know, maybe they're old now, too mature for all these jokes that they used to throw around all the time when they were kids, which I miss, but I guess it's not really what the writers were going for in terms of the tone.
It makes sense, like in terms of there are adults now. I mean, if 2 years have passed, and after 5 years have passed since we first saw them, so a good chunk of time.
They still kind of, well, at least Nightwing still kind of does his stuff that he's done since he was Robin. Like when they're at the party, he goes, it's really hard to fill the aster. Like, because he's always like playing with the words. He's like, well, if disaster is bad, so that means aster is like normal, right? And so he says that. I'm waiting for Garfield to be revealed to be like a team plant. Like, because Young Justice Season 2 with the whole like triple double cross.
Yeah, they're all lying to each other.
They're all lying to each other. Has me so hyped for possibly like, oh, Garfield's actually the public eye because we want him to be abducted, and so he'll be abducted by like somewhere, and then we can use him to get to a place. And so I'm just like I said, I'm holding off on being too critical of the show until it's done.
Yeah.
Because I remember being really mad Aqualad was a villain.
Yeah.
And then it was revealed that he was a mole, and I was like, oh my gosh. So
okay, so I got to give the show. You're right. I got to give it a little more benefit of the doubt and trust that there's a reason for that, because he seems like a different character than he was. He seemed like a really sweet kid. So now that you're right, he could be playing something. But the bulk of these 3 episodes deals with Markovia and royalty politics. There's a king and queen of Markovia whose daughter was kidnapped a little bit ago. They don't know what happened to her, and they're the major players. The heirs to the throne are 2 brothers. What are their names? You remember their names?
Isn't one like
Prince Gregor? He's the one who's going to be king, and then Brion, because we thought Superboy called him Bro at one point, but it's Brion. Gregor and Bron, and they're the kids to it. Then there's security head guy. What's his name? Baron DeLam was his name, along with other people. So then we introduce that whole royal family. And in the first kind of turn to how Young Justice has turned darker, an assassin sneaks into the palace and hella murders the king and queen.
Crap out of him real quick.
Yeah, gets blood all over his hands.
Yeah, it's like they're really pushing the limits and testing out like how dark they want to get here. So then there's the king and queen are dead, and there's a scramble-ish for who's going to take over. Nightwing is doing his own thing apart from Young Justice, and he recruits his super good friends, Superboy, Tigress, and Black Lightning for some reason. Like of all the people he could have gone to for help, he goes to Black Lightning like they're friends and they know each other, even though he knows Black Lightning just suffered a trauma. And Black Lightning literally says, I'm not at my power level. Like, he doesn't have his powers. He can't shoot his lightning. He's like, you know what? I'd rather have the man than the power. And I think that's bullshit. Because if I'm going on a mission, I want the powers. I was
thinking about that. Like, so Young Justice has always been about like shadow ops and kind of like underground missions and that kind of thing. And it seems like they're leaning very heavily towards that. and the team that Nightwing constructs is suspiciously lacking superpowers. I mean, their strongest dude is basically Superboy, which is super strength, but it's far from the real superhero antics that we had in the first 2 seasons. You know, you had Kid Flash, you had Megan. Well, I guess that's it. Who are the other superpower ones? Oh, they had like Zatanna and stuff like that occasionally. But yeah, this team is very much kind of the brawler ones with no real superpowers other than their extremely competent use of martial arts. And maybe that's kind of why they were going towards a Black Lightning that can't use his powers because of a traumatic event. Was because they wanted someone with superpowers. But they didn't want that person to use their superpowers, or else everything would be too easy.
So
they
super
kind of want
covert.
that.
And I guess Black Lightning's powers did come in
there.
handy when it comes like he could track where electricity sources are coming from.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting the feeling that they want to stick to this whole covert ops thing, and if they have too many superpowers in the mix, it might mess that up.
See,
I don't know. I'm not sure, but they've done that in the past, so I don't really know.
My thing
with
with that, like, I guess I'm curious about what's Superboy's current status with the Justice League, because I assume that Robin didn't ask Megan because she's leading Young Justice now. But I don't know if Superboy is on Young Justice or if he's actually a Justice League member or where he's at.
I think he's still doing the team because he was there when they had the walkout.
Yeah, he was on the outside.
So I think he's still part of the team. And so, but again, I don't think he has any power anywhere because he's not like in the Justice League. He's not the leader of the team, which he's never been, and something I actually really like about Connor. And so I think that's why he has free kind of range of motion, is that he can operate outside of stuff without really having to worry about that tape that constructs like Calder and Megan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess they're off on their mission, and I would have to say they kind of Robin and Tigress, who infiltrate the Markovia party, don't really understand the dynamics that are going on. They're like, who's the killer here? Like they kind of suspect Prince Brion could be a suspect, but then what they don't know, but the audience knows, we know, is that Prince Brion is actually kind of a good guy, that he's actually really caring about, he got himself tested for the metahuman gene. And he finds out through that way that his sister had the metahuman gene, and that's why she was kidnapped. And he kind of wants to unlock the metahuman ability within him so that he can become a hero and potentially rescue his sister. But Robin or Nightwing and Tigress don't know this. They're like, is he a bad guy? Why is he talking to the famed geneticist, this dude? Oh, they're in cahoots together. Let's follow him to this creepy children's hospital that
I'm being really loud about it too at the party.
Yeah, they're like talking out loud. It's like, oh, what about this? An interesting, I guess, moment at the party that we can talk about quickly is that Nightwing doesn't mention that he's talking to Oracle to Tigress. He hides that fact from her. Why? Why? Because in the comics, we know Oracle is Batgirl after she's crippled by the Joker. Do we think that Oracle is not necessarily Oracle? That we know, or this is going to be a twist that comic book fans aren't expecting, or why would he keep Oracle a secret from everybody?
I didn't even think about that, actually. That's interesting. I thought it was just kind of like, I guess he just didn't want to confuse Artemis or something. But yeah, now that you mention it, that does seem like he is keeping it a secret.
You ready for
Classic
this?
Nightwing.
You ready for this theory I'm just going to pull out of nowhere?
That sounds like a Coby thing, yeah.
Grasp at straws here. Okay. My theory is that Barbara's dead. So he salvaged some sort of mother box technology and was able to implant her personality into it, which is kind of like that living machine. And that's what he's connecting, and he's calling Oracle is a mother box that has Barbara's mind in it.
Okay.
Because he knows it's unethical, and he knows that a mother box is highly sought out. So I think if he told people about it, because if it was just a regular AI, I think people would be like, that's a little weird that you named it after Barbara. But if it had some main part of technology, I think people would be like, Dick, you can't be doing that. Like, people are going to go after this.
Yeah. So does anybody know? Is it just him, in your theory?
think it might just be him.
That's a classic Nightwing thing to do.
And maybe Calder's in on it.
Because it could be, yeah.
It could be.
Because Caldor is awesome in all aspects.
But that's my crazy theory, is AI Barbara Gordon.
That whole thing in general, like, points out the thing that I like about the show, that about these 3 episodes in general, that it plants the seeds for things that I want to see developed in later episodes. And that's something I guess Young Justice has always done really well. So I guess we could stick a pin in that and wait to see how the Oracle thing plays out. But Jeff, do you care who Oracle is? Is it a big mystery for you?
Well, I mean, I wasn't even thinking about it till you guys brought it up. I guess so. I don't really. I can honestly care less right now. I was content with it's Barbara, whatever. He didn't want to confuse Artemis, whatever. He just wanted to continue the conversation. Didn't want to, make things a little awkward, right? Pretending like, I don't know. It seemed like it would have been maybe to him more inconvenient to be like, oh no, sorry, I was talking to Oracle. It's on my glasses here. You see, she sent me messages. Instead, it was easier for him to be like, oh yeah, I am replying to the thing that you just said. But no, it makes sense. It must be a mystery. So yeah, whatever.
I guess we'll see. So at the secret lab that's located in an abandoned / actually fully functional children's hospital, unsure about which, because we didn't see anybody, but they felt the need to sneak in there.
There was a janitor.
There was one janitor. That's all we saw at that massive children's hospital. So maybe it's just that one janitor working there. Unsure. But both Nightwing and also Superboy and Black Lightning are sneaking in. Superboy and Black Lightning are underneath, or they went in first. And
they went in first, and they come in later.
Yeah, and they have just horrible luck, Black Lightning and Superboy, as they infiltrate this facility, because they find it. They find out there are clones, and they actually have to fight another one of the meta creatures things that are turned into kids.
It's almost an exact copy of the Plasmus thing that was on Ran.
Yeah, that they have to fight. So of course, Black Lightning chokes. About this, he can't really fight them, and Superboy's damaged because these things are deadly. If they touch you once, you're dead, it seems like. So they have to run away, and they flee in the sewers. And this, Jeff, I want to know your reaction to their escape through the pipes. When Black Lightning
Giggled, I think he knows what we're gonna bring up.
Because it was unintentionally hilarious, I think.
I completely agree. And what a way to show how fucking useless your character is, that he just gets knocked out by jumping in water. Like, there must have been a better way to knock him out. Why did they do it that way? Why didn't they have him be punched in the face by the lava dude instead of... No, it's like, I fell in some water and my back hit a rock.
He broke his back and
shit.
died.
Yeah.
Like, escape through here and then jumps out. And my thing is, there was no point to it, because he washes up on shore and then he's like, he's got Superboy. It's like, you don't know that.
Yeah, that's the thing too. How did he know that? I thought he got knocked out in the water by hitting his back on a rock. How does he know all the details of what happened to
Superboy?
Superboy?
In like 6 feet of water.
I think it has to be so that he, like, because people would ask, why didn't he just climb back up and try to save Superboy? Well, I'm like, you could have just blamed that on him freezing up again. But no, he jumped in and got knocked out.
On his own volition. He just
floated back into the top and said, Superboy out.
Superboy out.
Yep.
And then it was kind of like, when you dive off, like what seems like a really high fall, right? And you fall into water and you stab your back into rocks. They didn't even do any sort of medical healing on him. He washed up on shore, and they were just like,
he's fine.
You're good? He's like, still a little sore, but like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, that was ridiculous.
I am, thinking about that moment in particular makes me not on board with this Black Lightning guy. Why did they ask this guy? Why?
Because they'd rather have the man than the power.
Well, Nightwing's got some pretty poor judgment there, I'd say.
So then they have to go back the way they came. Like, I'm thinking, just like story-wise, this is kind of weird, because they fall through the pipes, they escape through the pipes, they wash up, and then those group of characters go right back up the pipes to go back to where they were. I mean, like, it works because these episodes flow nicely, and they're very quick. But it's just like if you think about it from like an eagle eye view, like that's a weird progression of things. Like you're here, you go, and you come right back to where you were. But meanwhile, Nightwing has been following this Prince Brion and this geneticist character. And Prince Brion just wants to save his country, and all of that. And he gets tricked by the geneticist, forced into a metahuman pod, and his metahuman gene is kind of as activated, and so they put him in the black sludge, and then they get him out. And then that leads to video evidence, because the politics are always a huge thing about Young Justice, showing that the prince is unlocking his metahuman gene. The Markovia security general says, like, this is proof that the Prince Brion is behind the assassination of his parents and wanted to and is unlocking his metahuman gene because he's a bad guy. We hate metahumans here. And all the 6 people who are at that coronation are just like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
He's right.
He is right.
I think that was kind of funny. I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but it's later revealed that he too is a metahuman, and then he's fighting Prince Brion, and then he's like, and then the crown prince is all like, wait, but you're a metahuman too, and he's like, oh, I had to do this to protect my country. And I just think it's hilarious that he just did like a judo move on Prince Brion, just basically stole all of his intentions and his motivations and just turned it against him.
Because Brion goes,
I don't know. He's like, that wasn't your plan. That was my plan.
Yeah.
But then
I don't know. I just found that comedic.
I like that the brother wasn't like the typical monarch that doesn't know anything and is easily manipulated, because he breaks down the whole situation. He goes, okay, both of you are using the same story, and you're clearly more used to your power than my brother.
Yeah, who's like screaming in pain and agony over his thing.
So you've had to have your power longer, meaning, and you have actively hated metahumans. So that's telling me that you're trying to put the blame on someone while you yourself are a metahuman. So yeah, you're the bad guy.
You're the bad guy.
And he's
here.
like, what?
He's like, no, that's not true. But it's like, I like how the general didn't even try to hide his power at the beginning. Like the brother was coming at him in his lava rock form, about to attack him. And what does the security guy do? He immediately rips off his skin and shows that he's a metahuman. After 5 minutes before, he was just like, metahumans are the worst thing to happen in the history of forever.
He was just super excited about his metahuman powers, apparently.
Like, look at me, I'm made of rock.
He could have, fainted or, like, pretended to be injured by the Prince Brion that he just outed. But no, he had to show off, He had to deck him.
Yeah, he had to
punch him right in
deck
the
him.
face.
In the snaz.
They had to deck him. So then back on the ground, because Superboy is occupied stopping the prince from killing the uncle in front of everybody, because that's bad, because he's going insane. Back on the ground, the Young Justice heroes are doing battle with Count Vertigo, who's in this because if he disrupts because Count Vertigo has always just wanted one thing, is to rule his own kingdom, no matter what. So if he destabilizes Markovia, then through some political machinations, I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but I'm going to stick with it, he gets his own country at the end, and both countries are under the light. So the Young Justice are doing battle with him, along with the geneticist, who turns out to have his own power, which is to make copies of himself.
He's like multiple man.
Yeah, he's like multiple man.
We haven't brought up the undead girl.
Yes, that part is very important. Another aspect about this, they find one of the guards at the palace was killed, and at first it seemed like she wasn't killed. On her first introduction, we thought, oh, did the guards it was nice of the guards to like chloroform her and not kill her, and we're like, that's cool. But then the next thing is them dragging her body into a grave and starting to bury her, and then she like suddenly wakes up because she has the power to revive from the dead. And this has got to be my favorite reaction in all of Young Justice and a lot of things in general. The goons who saw her wake up from the dead, they decide their best course of action is to start burying her faster. Quick.
We can bury her faster than she can regenerate.
She regenerates. Yeah. It's great.
Some very good, unexpectedly funny moments in the show. And I don't know if the writers are aware of that, but this is the levity, I guess, is these hilarious moments that maybe
it makes it a lot of fun to watch, because I'm laughing at it, but I'm not calling it like it is stupid, but it's like
it is dumb.
But it's a lot
Hey,
of fun.
superheroes.
It's superheroes. It's supposed to be fun. Yeah.
Redheads, am I right?
Redheads, am I right?
Fucking Aquaman.
So then Tigress comes because she hasn't really done a whole lot in this mission, even though she was invited by Nightwing. She rescues this new girl who'd you say you thought she was, Jake?
I thought she was going to be Argent, who in the comics has had like a history of having like hard light powers that are red. And so I was like, oh, that like she might be Argent. And then she resurrects herself, and I go, maybe she's not.
That's not Argent.
That's not Argent, I think.
But yeah, she kind of goes through like this weird amnesia thing where she doesn't really understand what's happening. She has a close connection with the sphere machine. They're the machine, and then she's involved in the final battle about that. And this is one of the darkest moments I would say ever in the show. When she's like flying in the air, it's like I help, and then all of a sudden the monster that's also there, another plasmist creature that's all flaming stuff, grabs her by the face, melts her face, and slams her into the ground
While she's screaming the whole time.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking dark. And then they look at her, and there's a good time,
graphic.
Devoted to her half melted face. I didn't expect her to come back. I just thought that's just dark, dude.
Yeah. Even though they showed her resurrecting herself earlier, I was there was a possibility to be had that she would not revive again, which is I don't know. I was kind of like, holy shit, I was on board with that.
I was too. I loved it, and the scariest thing was that she woke up alive, was still with half a face, and was talking with half a face. I'm like, that's pretty freaky. But it looks like she's going to become a more important character as things progress. But it's like, so they're in this final battle. Count Vertigo and Multiple Man, I'm just going to call him, even though he's not Multiple Man, and a giant plasmist creature are trying to attack him with some goons. Nightwing throws a smoke bomb down. And then this is Black Lightning's time to shine. He sees the dead girl. Again, getting her face melted off. He has flashbacks to all that has just happened in the last two episodes and realizes no more dead kids, and then goes to murder the kid.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I will kill as many kids as possible to save other kids.
Black Lightning, what is this guy like? Why do they?
Nightwing's just in the corner, just like, I really chose poorly. Like, I should not have
chose the wrong
him.
man.
He was like, oh man, I'm really pissed off Kaldor became the leader of
Yeah,
this.
I really needed Kaldor here. He tried to go to Kaldor's house first, but somehow got mixed up with Black Lightning's house. And we're just like, oh yeah, you can come if you want. You don't have powers, right? You don't want to go, but I guess it's the man I want, but that's fine. Black Lightning's like, no, I'll come. He's like, shit.
Oh, no,
he did say, he's like, oh yeah, we'll be at the boom tube. We'll wait for 5 minutes, but don't
show up.
It's
fine. You do your thing. So then he goes and he fights the creature, and he overcomes that arc. And this goes back to the part that we were discussing earlier, that it looks like that these episodes were designed in 3-episode chunks, because Black Lightning had a clear arc from this episode to this episode, and then it ended with him getting his powers back, which is nice. And then it ends on kind of a dark note, because after Black Lightning defeats the monster, a friendly farmer comes out of nowhere and shoots Plasmus in the back. And just like, I killed the monster. And that's my Markovia accent.
Wow, much fun be had over here.
And they murder it, and they find out it's another boy.
Yeah, it's the first Plasmus's brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's
and
sad.
Black Lightning's like, you killed the kid.
You killed the kid. And then like,
you'll know what that means.
That's a dick move, because what Black Lightning did is put that evil on him. Like, they didn't have to tell the farmer that it was a little kid he shot, because the farmer thought he did good, and he did the logical thing of shoot the angry monster that the good guys are fighting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But then he literally told him, it's like, once you kill a kid, once you know what you did, you don't forget it.
Uh-huh. It's
like,
okay, Black Lightning, you dick.
That guy's gonna need therapy now.
Yeah, he just did what he thought was right.
Or maybe we can all hope the Markovian farmer was just like, you are very welcome.
Here in Markovia, very common we kill kid.
Now your family can eat more.
Yeah, and then that's really the episode, because then they go back. Superboy asks Nightwing what their next. What? Go ahead.
Prince Brion gets his powers.
Yeah, he gets his powers. He kind of masters it. And he goes back with them,
And he's got lava powers too, which made me think that every time they activate someone's powers, they just become lava people.
Or something.
But I
with
guess that
Earth
doesn't
related.
happen because there's the
element. I
there's the
hope it's not
counting guy.
because we know they sometimes are activated with different things, but it's a weird elemental
Yeah.
power. Is there anyone elemental?
Well, I mean, they're just thinking of the metahumans that we saw even in the past. Static had lightning. Then there was Apache Chief who had the
Spirit,
like
astral projection.
Astral projection.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's the sound
Still
of his
upset that you
transformation.
never said up Chuck.
up nunchuck. Yeah. So then they find out what their next move is. I think that's a good place to end it. It was 3 episodes where it was a story from start to finish. They had enough time to develop it and know the characters and the side characters, and it had a resolution of sorts. So if all 3 episode chunks are like this, I think we're going to be in for a pretty good time.
I want to ask you guys, because the Young Justice Season 3 banner on the DC Universe streaming site, we see what appears to be the main team of the season, which is Nightwing, Tigress, Black Lightning, Dead Chick that comes back to life, and Barovian Prince, and then some other
What's he
weirdo
dressed
aliens.
like?
Oh, he has a stupid green costume. It's like a skin tight green thing with lines on it. It looks dumb. It looks like a terrible Tron outfit or something like that.
Oh no.
But yeah, it's a I don't know. And then the resurrecting chick, yeah, she has a cooler outfit. It looks kind of like Raven, but with yellow,
I think
like a yellow Raven.
I think they're
but I don't
calling her
know.
like Halo.
Yeah. That's what they call it. She's like, oh, she burst out like a halo of light, which, like, one, no, she did not. So it's like they only said that because that's going to be her name.
Yeah.
It looks like
Anyway,
Oh,
so
like Metamorphosis looks like he's on the team.
and same thing with Katana.
Katana, but
oh yeah, Katana's on there as
but
well.
she was one of the Justice League members who quit, right?
Yeah, don't let her
Yeah.
sword cut you.
Don't let her sword cut you.
I recommend
But
don't
not
get
being
killed by her.
So stupid.
But what do you guys think of this team so far? Are you on board?
I think it will lead to an interesting dynamic, but I think again, this is kind of weird because in the first 2 seasons, it's very kind of not like in concrete that Nightwing chooses his teams based off the best combination, and but based off the best combination, not based on his feelings. And like right away when he's like, we want Black Lightning because of the man, I was a little iffy about it. And so this one, it looks like if they're bringing Brion and Halo into it, it seems like they're people who are just learning their powers. It'd be kind of weird to have them in this covert like Black Ops team. So I'm curious as to how they prove themselves to be part of it.
Especially because really they're not Young Justice. Young Justice has a team led by Magan. I know the season's called Young Justice Outsiders, so is this them?
I think these are the outsiders.
These are the outsiders.
Yeah. Working outside the system,
So
outside of Young Justice and the Justice League, I guess.
I mean, I get it. I guess introducing new characters, I'm sure they'll be interesting. But that's a problem with a show like this. When I think a show is this good, when you introduce such interesting characters to begin with. I mean, you want to introduce more because the DC universe is vast and has a lot of cool guys. But they do such a good job developing the characters before that you're like, I want to see more of those ones. I am so invested in Arsenal, the real Roy Harper, and clone Roy Harper, who I guess goes by Will now, and Living with Tigress.
Yeah, I think they're just like Remy's.
Yeah, I don't think
they're involved.
Yeah, but it's just like I love him and I love all their stories. And I loved Static's team with Enoch Chuck and just not Apache Chief and all those guys running off together and doing their own thing. I love all these side characters they introduce, and this world is so vast. So it's both a pro and a con of having all these cool guys, but it's like they want to keep developing new cool guys. I'm sure all these people will be cool as long as none of them are like Lagan. I think Lagan was the only character I did not like.
Well, I mean, yeah, like I remember watching season 2 and seeing like Impulse and Blue Beetle, and I'm like, why are there so many episodes dedicated to these guys? I want to see more.
Blue Beetle was like the heart of
of season 2.
Yeah.
But then I actually started to grow and like them. So again, that's why I'm being very soft on Young Justice Outsiders until we finish. Because I don't know, I might like these characters more. Because again, like they do a good job of developing those characters. It kind of just sucks though that they throw other characters to the side.
Yeah.
but I think we'll have attachments in, because if they are operating outside the system, like this is our outsiders team. I think that Connor and McGann, who got engaged in the first episode, are going to have issues because McGann is still an authority figure, and if Connor's operating outside of it, then that she might see that as a challenge to her.
These two kids just can't be happy. I also, the little side things, like I like when McGann's like leading the team, and just like little side things that she's comfortable being the white Martian that she's always hid herself as when she's out in public. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Interesting development, I guess. Didn't need to be explained. Just kind of, well, McGann's got a new look.
Yeah.
Always got a new look every season, seems.
They do, because they got to sell toys, so they got to sell new action figures. So I guess really quickly, what do you most want to see going forward?
I guess for me, I want to see what happened to the runaway kids, as well as Arsenal. I really want to see what those guys have been up to for season 2, and I imagine that with our outsiders operating, I imagine they have to run into those guys at some point, right? Like they can't just be written off the show, and so that's a big part for me. I want to see that group, and I want to see what's going on with the Justice League abandoners, because they took people out of the team. They took Spoiler, Robin, and
they took their
Arrowhead.
proteges, right?
Yeah, they took the proteges out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I wonder what happens there. And I guess the biggest thing too is I want to know what Vandal Savage did with the War Planet.
Yeah, because he took it and ran away.
Yeah, he took it to Darkseid, and 2 years have passed.
Yeah.
So those three things. And if it's anything like Voltron, I will get 2 of those things and still be kind of disappointed.
Yeah. Oh, Voltron burn. I guess I want to see more, infighting between the Justice League, the Young Justice, and now these outsiders. 'Cause I love their structure of this league. I love how kind of organized it is, and how it's structured in terms of voting in members and how they handle situations and how they have to present themselves to the world. I've loved that thing since the beginning of Young Justice. So now that there's kind of 3 teams to deal with, I'm excited to see how they cohabitate the world, and especially when the world doesn't seem to be as appreciative of their actions. So I'm excited for that going forward. Jeff, anything on your end?
I want to see what Aquaman's up to. I want to see some Aquaman action.
Yeah.
I mean, action.
Aquaman option.
Option/action.
Yeah, well, cool. This was fun, guys. Jake, thank you so much, as always, because you've been in our last few ones.
My pleasure, guys. I always like it.
As pleasure. We'll keep doing this if you want to join us for
absolutely.
time.
I'll be happy to do. I'm going to watch it anyway. So.
All right, it's locked in. All 3 of us are doing this. And I do like these 3-episode chunks. It gives us just enough to talk about without being overboard or anything. So we'll be back next week with another episode review of the next 3 chunks and see where things go. Jake, you want to plug yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. My channel is Anime Dumpster Dive. As I said at the beginning, we go in depth on anime that people have considered bad, and drop by, check out some videos. If you like me, you can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @fake_JakeH.
And Jeff and I, we're here on Nerd Blaze, where you're watching this video at. We have a bunch of episode reviews. We do seasonal anime reviews, along with a podcast, Anime Ricochet, where 2 dudes who know nothing about sports review sports anime. It's a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.